good life, the good life. Tonight, we're gonna live the good life. Alright, let's go and live the good life, the good life.
Good morning, Shy folk, and welcome back to Old Man Willow Farm. My name's Diane, and we have a horse boarding, training, and lesson facility here in the Willamette Valley. And I am here to talk to you about all things to do with horses and building a business around horses. So let's dive right into today. So behind me is our shavings storage unit, I guess you'd call it. So if you have a larger number of horses, it's much more cost effective to get in a big load of shavings than it is to buy it from the store. And then you need somewhere to store it and keep it dry. So we have used here the back of our grooming stall. We've enclosed it, and this is where we put our shavings. There's access from outside through this big gate that we have here, and that works really well. It's really easy to get it to the barn. Now, I'm going to show you the system that we use for shavings, and then we'll take it from there. So let's go and have a look at the stall, and I'll show you how we do that. So you can do shavings in one of two ways. You can do a deep litter system, which is what we used to do in South Africa, where you have bedding that basically goes up the walls, and it's about this deep, and basically you just pick up the wet spots and the poop each morning, but the bedding, and then just refill as needed. So you can do that system. It's a little bit more expensive. And then you can do the system we have here, where you have mats, and then to just create a soft, comfortable surface for the horses, but you have a small amount of shavings, just enough to soak up any pee, and you remove all of those shavings every day. So it's a little, I find this system a little bit less labor intensive, and I definitely think it's cheaper. We go through probably 3 to 4 loads of shavings a year, which is 2 tons to a load. So, and it's about $250 a load. So the cost can add up. So, but anyway, all of the shaving and the poop has to go somewhere. So that's what I'm going to talk to you about next. Right, so I'm standing outside our muck heap here, and there are a couple of things about this. So first of all, picking the site. So if you've ever pushed a wheelbarrow full of poop, you will know how heavy it is. So you don't want to be too far away from the barn. So our site is just outside our sacrifice paddocks, round pens here, which is not too far to push a full wheelbarrow. On the other hand, because of flies, you don't want it too close to the barn. So it's just finding that balance, finding a good site. The other thing is that you need to contain your manure pile. So we have this blackberry hedge on this side, which was already there. And when we cleared out the site, we banked up the dirt against the sacrifice paddocks at the back. So we had basically a wall on one side, a wall on the other side, in a kind of an L shape. And then we slowly just built up the manure. I put a ramp up onto the bank, and we would just tip it off the bank and built it up coming this way. So the other thing is that you want to consider that parasites can wiggle about 30 meters. So you want to fence off this area, like we have ours fenced off, and you don't want it anywhere near pasture where those little worm larvae can just wiggle in and then the horses eat them. The other thing is that it has to be, by law, about 10 meters away from any kind of water source, springs, rivers, that kind of thing. And if you have a well or drinking water source, then it has to be 50 meters away from it. So you can't have it too close to there. You also need to be able to access it with a trailer, with a tractor, so that you can spread it or turn it or whatever you want to do. So that's kind of like thinking through some of those things of where you're going to position it. Then in terms of maintenance and maintaining it, you basically are composting on kind of a much larger scale. So the ideal situation is to add moisture and oxygen and turn it regularly, and that helps it to break down quicker, and then you can use it and spread it quicker. If you don't have a tractor like us, then you have to improvise. And basically what you do is then you just pack it as solidly as you can so that you keep the moisture inside. You let that heat build up. That's what destroys all the parasites. And you just give it a longer time so it breaks over. It takes, this pile is about a year old. So last fall, we spread it every fall, just before the rains come, we spread it. So we'll be spreading it again in October. And so basically it's had a year to break down, and then we'll take it out and we spread it on our paddocks. And so some of the benefits that you think about managing your manure this way is basically by taking it out, spreading it on the land, once it's composted and broken down, you're adding nutrients back into the ground. By containing it like this, you're stopping that effluent, the black yucky stuff, from getting into water sources. So you're protecting the water sources from pollutants. By feeding and putting nutrients back in the soil, you increase the water holding capacity of your land. So those are all really, really good things that composting does. And, you know, a horse produces 50 pounds of manure each day. That's like 9 tons a year, and that's not including the shavings. So having an 8-stall barn, that's a lot of manure. So you have to manage it well and have a plan for it as well. So I hope this was helpful for you. Not a very pretty topic, but one that is a necessity when you're running a horse barn.